Okay, welcome back, and if you're joining us for part 2, yeah, it happened. The road trip that we planned happened without a hitch, really, at all, bar a ferry cancellation. Charging network was fantastic, and we travelled 3,500 kilometres, 2,200 miles in 11 days, 6 countries, charging perfect everywhere we went. Bar one charger that failed halfway through, and then we just moved to another one. It was fine. That's it. So if you're driving Europe and you want to exit this video in 60 seconds, thanks for coming back. But yeah, it's possible. It happened. I was worried about it. I panicked. I ordered every charge card possible, or every app going. I registered this, that and the other, and you don't really need it. The network out there through Europe it puts, in my opinion, UK to shame. The roads are fantastic. It's just a lovely drive. In an EV, it was a little bit more special. And yeah, go do, plan, enjoy, and thank you for tuning in. If you want to stay around for a little bit more, I'm going to post a few videos of some of the charging stations we went to, a little bit more background on the trip itself, what we needed, what we didn't need. And yeah, I think the takeaway point really was that you can do it. The network is there to support you. The battery and a slower charging car. We were lucky to have the Kia EV6, which takes advantage of the fast charge. But even then, you've got 150 watt kilowatt chargers. I think Polestar, I seem to recall a friend saying that Polestar is 150 kilowatt charging. So I may be wrong, but it will support others. There are 50 kilowatt chargers right the way through. Shell Recharge 150s everywhere there. And even through Czech Republic, which is where I was. This is kind of how the whole video started. I've seen plenty of other videos about travelling through different parts of Europe. I hadn't found anything on Czech specifically. And again, Ionity, there are 2 or 3 charge points around the Prague sort of central area. Nothing else, and that was my panic point. But there were other chargers available within the Czech network, and my Kia charge card, which gives me a year's worth of reduced rate Ionity, also worked on that. Also worked on Shell Recharge, and also worked on ENBW stations, which was, to my surprise, when I plugged in, I just tried it, and it connected, charging, and it charges you at the current rate for ENBW or Shell Recharge, which is a bit more expensive than some, but it's cheaper than Ionity without the Kia charge card, and it's also cheaper than UK prices overall. We stopped once in England on the way home, just outside London, and used a GridServe charger for a matter of minutes and got fleeced there quite quickly. But that was just half full of kids and wife. We're all tired. I just wanted to make sure that we got back safely. So, but yeah, we charged on Ionity most of the way across that trip. I think the highest we got to in terms of kilowatt charging or kilowatt hour charging was 173, which is pretty good. I've never seen 350 on Ionity anywhere, even though they say 350. I don't think they ever are. I think our average in England is around about 90 to 100, 110. I have seen 130 once at Colompton. But over in Germany and France, it was 130 was the kind of standard, up to 140, 143, and then 170. So we were doing quite well. It all depends on battery temperature as well. We went from 17 degrees in Paris and t-shirts to up in the mountains just outside in Switzerland on the lakes there, and that was -1 at one point. So different factors that will affect your battery temperature and charging patterns, etc, etc. And I don't know too much about it. All I do know is that the trip we planned went off without a hitch. It was a lot easier than I ever thought. So if you've got an electric car and you're worried about it, don't be, because as long as you do a bit of research before you go and you plot your journey accordingly. We used a better route planner for the whole trip essentially, and we used a car which works on Kia and Hyundai Ioniq 5 as well as others, I believe. But I think a lot of cars have this plug-in port, 4 dongles. It links to Car Scanner, it links to other apps as well, and it just gives you real-time data feed from the car real-time battery capacity, which links to a better route planner, and it allows it to say, well, if you're starting here and you want to get to there, this is how many charges you're going to need to get you there with the amount you specify. So we stuck at 25% absolute minimum. So for example, we went from our hotel just outside Disneyland, and we went across to Metz. So you start just outside Disneyland, it knows you're starting on 60%, for example, and to get to Metz you're going to need to charge once, because it will tell you need to charge once, and when you get to Metz it will have 73% in the tank based on what the sort of specifics you set out. So it's a clever bit of kit. It's $4.99 a month, I believe now. You can do it monthly and do it when you plan your trip, or I'm going to keep it on board now because I use it day in day out for UK driving. So it's a great piece of kit along with the dongle. Those two work together, they fed the right data across. ABRP did its thing, got us to our destinations with required amounts of battery, and all in all the whole European trip of 3,500 kilometres was straightforward, simple. The distances, I think we went 5.5 hours on one of the longest days, with 2 stops just to charge at one, and then a quick charge at the second one. But they were charge stops for the boys, really, to get out, stretch legs, get some fresh air, and myself and my wife. And you have to, on distances like that, you have to have a couple of hours, then go again, a couple of hours, go again. So it was a 5.5 hours, one of the longest ones we did. Yeah, so make it as easy as possible, break those journeys up. If you've got kids in the car, they have their tablets and Minecraft, and 2 hours they were playing on that, then you had a half hour, 45 minutes charge stop with some food and back again, and it breaks it all up, and it makes it feel like you haven't been driving potentially that long. You stay awake and refreshed and alert, and that's what you can do. So yeah, go see what you can plan and go and enjoy it. And you know, this was a test for us. We had no idea what to expect and how it would all work out, but armed with a couple of cards, RFID card that would come with your car. Tesla, Kia, Hyundai, I believe, do their own version with that, and a credit card for any payments that don't work with the app or whatever, and a credit card to make sure you are able to charge here, there and everywhere. Yeah, it's a relatively painless experience, so a little bit daunting when you first get into France and go, will my card work? But after that first charge, I mean, we had free charging at the port, which was fantastic. Our ferry was cancelled at 4:30 in the afternoon on the 29th, and they said, do you want to rebook it for a few days time and or take a full refund? Well, we had hotels booked, we couldn't suddenly change things about, so we took the option of the cancellation. We quickly booked Eurotunnel for that night, which was at 12:20 in the morning, or the next morning, 12:20. So we knew we had 6 hours to leave Bristol, get to Folkestone and charge along the way. So we did it, and we got onto the tunnel on the Channel crossing and drove through the night to Paris, which was probably the hardest part of the journey, to be fair, arriving in Paris at sort of 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. But we did it. It was a bit of that was the only real blip we had, and that was through no fault of the car or the planning. It was more the fact that the French authorities, or port authorities, and French workers over there decided to go on strike, which is how it was sold to us, and it was all last minute. But we got there, we drove, we enjoyed, and everything fell into place from the moment we got there. So don't have any hesitation about booking it. Take your EV. The not silence, but the quieter engine lends itself well to the scenic routes through the Alps, and if you're coming through the summer and summertime, wind those windows down, or wind them down. That's a strange old expression. Bring the windows down, and then just go and enjoy, have fun with it. Let the air come through, and as you drive past the Swiss lakes, and yeah, so apologies for the not looking at the camera, feeling very impersonal. Trying to stay eyes on the road, focused, safe driving. The car is a state. I've just driven through some muddy puddles, so it looks disgusting. Do apologise for that as well. But thank you for coming back, and I hope in some way this has helped a little and put your mind at rest, because that's all I ever wanted to do. There are plenty of channels out there that focus on driving. The one channel and the one person I will say a huge thank you again to is Mr. Andrew Till, Mr. EV. I'll send his details here, or I'll post his details here as well, because without him we would not have done this journey, and he covers in depth travels through Europe, through Italy, and that gave me the idea that we could do this as well. I knew it was possible, but I just didn't know how well it was going to go, and it's safe to say it was a breeze and we loved every minute of it. But thank you, Andrew Till, for making this happen for us, and go check his videos out because they are informative. There's a lot more detail he puts into some of the kit for the car, the apps, things like that. It's something I can never do. I don't intend to start this as a channel that's going to keep on going and post a video. There are people doing that a far better job than I ever could. This is more to say thank you, and if I've given a little bit back in our travel to somebody, or to somebody out there that are unsure of a journey into Europe, or how it works, I'm hoping this helps in some way. On that note, I will leave you in peace, and there may be another video if we go to Italy or Spain or something like that, so who knows. But thank you for popping back, and I hope this has been informative in some way.